গুড ইভিনিং অ্যান্ড ওয়েলকাম। সকলকে স্বাগত জানাই। Today we are going to discuss another important concept, very important for CSIR or GATE exam. CSIR আর GATE এক্সামের জন্য এবং WB set and the set exams of all other states, this concept is very much important. Degree of freedom, আমরা এটাকে দেখার চেষ্টা করব. That is important. Now we all know that dates of next CSIR in June. Confirmed. CSIR এর জুনের ডেট কনফার্মড হয়ে গেছে। তো সকলের সুবিধার জন্য আমরা ক্লাসিক্যাল মেকানিক্স তার DOF ডিগ্রি অফ ফ্রিডম we should discuss in detail. First of all, main points. Target is to discuss main points of DOF, and finally we see the applications of those points. তারপর আমরা দেখব ওই সমস্ত পয়েন্টসগুলোর অ্যাপ্লিকেশন কি হতে পারে। সকলের পক্ষেই ভিডিওটা সুবিধা হবে। All of you are requested to see lecture 1, 2, 3 first. That will make your work easy to realize what we have discussed previously. আগে যেগুলো আমরা ডিসকাস করেছি সেগুলো যদি সবাই দেখে নিই তো খুব সহজেই কনসেপ্টসগুলো আমাদের মধ্যে চলে আসবে। তো এটাতে আমরা যাওয়ার আগে সবার আগে just we would like to confirm one thing. What is particle? In general, this particular terminology is taken from two-dimensional or three-dimensional geometry, where a particle is considered as a point. So particle is something point like a point, this one পয়েন্টের মতো ধরে নেওয়া হয় পার্টিকেলটা। এখন now the question comes in mechanics that whenever there is motion the part will be related to dynamics. Motion always dynamics কে relate করে দেয়। So whenever we have motion of a particle along a particular straight line, just think of one thing. OX say আমাদের অক্ষ, say OX is our axis and this axis is single axis, একটাই অক্ষ দেখতে পাচ্ছি। So when a particle starts from O and finally comes at A along that particular axis, so he or she, if we consider that particle as free means in our modern world each man and woman are supposed to be free. Men and women here are supposed to be free. Now we consider a single man or a single woman. Now what happens? If that man or woman likes to walk on this road, then he or she can just go either right or to left. So a movement from right to left or from left to right is allowed. But the movement is always along a particular straight line. So from dimensional point of view, it is enjoying one-dimensional motion. ওয়ান ডাইমেনশনাল মোশন মেনে চলছে, আমরা এটা ধরে নেব। তাহলে যখনই সে ওয়ান ডাইমেনশনাল মোশন মেনে চলছে, যেটা ইম্পর্টেন্ট জিনিস হয়ে গেল, জাস্ট উই উড লাইক টু সি, তাহলে এখানে হোয়াট ইজ দ্য নাম্বার অফ, দিস নোটেশন ডিনোটস নাম্বার অফ From here on, we would use this particular symbol to denote number of. So, যদি বলি number of independent coordinates, that means the coordinate which is free. Just look at the fact. The freeness is along from right to left or from left to right. This is the only motion that can be possible for this particle. So, number of independent coordinates here is 1. এখানে আমরা দেখতে পাচ্ছি নাম্বার অফ ইন্ডিপেন্ডেন্ট কোঅর্ডিনেট একটাই। সো যেটা বলা হচ্ছে বারবার, টু ডেসক্রাইব we should not go to formal definition because it will make our subject intricately difficult. So এই জটিলতার দিকে আমরা যাব না, আমরা কি করব, to describe dynamics, that means motion of a system. Why it is system? Because we have say 5 to 6 particles. So that is why it is called system. System বলা হবে কারণ এখানে একাধিক পার্টিকেল আসতেও পারে। সো এর মোশন যখন ডিসকাস করছি, সেটাকে ডিসকাস করতে যে কটা নাম্বার অফ ইন্ডিপেন্ডেন্ট কোঅর্ডিনেটস রিকোয়ার্ড, দ্যাট ইজ ডিগ্রি অফ ফ্রিডম। সো ইন এ ওয়ার্ড, ডিগ্রি অফ ফ্রিডম, জাস্ট উই শুড সি ইন দ্য নেক্সট পেজ, ডিগ্রি অফ ফ্রিডম, just loosely speaking, number of independent coordinate. This is the only clue which the students should learn easily and quickly. As quickly they learn it, it will be better for them, because that will make all the situation to control, say in 30 seconds or 1 minute. So within 30 seconds to 1 minute, we can answer this type of question which are based on DOF. We will see later when we discuss all the previous year questions, PYQ. We have already discussed that PYQ হচ্ছে খুবই important, very important concept. We should go through that. So our first result will be on a straight line, degree of freedom will always be 1. একটা স্ট্রেট লাইনের উপর যখন সে মুভ করছে, এই পার্টিকেলটা মুভ করছে, সো ডিগ্রি অফ ফ্রিডম উইল অলওয়েজ বি 1. কটা পার্টিকেল? 1. তাহলে 1 পার্টিকেল, সিঙ্গেল পার্টিকেলের জন্য ডিগ্রি অফ ফ্রিডম 1. নাম্বার 2, নাও সাপোজ the particle is moving along a plane curve, that means a curve which is in plane, say xy plane. So the point is like here, and after some time it comes to here. So its coordinate is x1 y1 and this is x2 y2. Now look at the beauty. We need at least 2 points or 2 coordinates to describe each point. If we like to describe the free motion of point P, then we would like to impose 2 distances, one from y-axis and one from x-axis. From y-axis the distance is x1 and from y-axis the distance is y1. So 2 coordinates are required, and we have already seen that when we discuss number of independent coordinates, these are 2 here. So for a single particle on 2D, the number of degree of freedom will always be 2. Clear? Number 3, again for a single particle. Here all the results will come from for single particle. What will happen for aggregate of particles we will see later. তো একটা পয়েন্টের জন্য এরকম হবে যে সিঙ্গেল একটা পয়েন্টের জন্য যখন সে প্লেনের উপর মুভ করবে, just when it moves along a particular plane or rather a plane curve, then the degree of freedom for that single particle will always be 2. Similarly, in 3D space, if we consider a particle here, so we need 3 distances. First we go through O to A, say x distance, then y distance up to here, and finally z distance. So 3, 1, 2, 3 coordinates are required to specify the position of P. So here single particle will produce degree of freedom as 3. Obviously, the main thing is you should mark, all of you should mark and give special importance to this particular word single, because if it is not single then it will not be 3, we will see later. Now comes the question for a plane curve. Say y equal to x square. We all know this is a parabola. In 2 dimension, this is a parabola. So we should draw that. What will be it? It will be like this. And if a particle is here, say p xy, then look, this particle, if we know x, then we can easily determine y. So though p has 2 coordinates, but those 2 coordinates are interrelated with a single equation. That means whenever the particle moves along this particular curve, যখনই পার্টিকেলটা এই কার্ভের উপর চলবে, it must follow this path. এই পাথটা ফলো করতে বাধ্য হবে, where the interrelation is established already. So whenever that interrelation is established, whenever we see particular interrelation, that interrelation is called constraint. কনস্ট্যান্ট মানে হচ্ছে বাধা। ইন বেঙ্গলি টার্ম কনস্ট্যান্ট হচ্ছে বাধা। তো বাধা যদি থাকে তাহলে যে ফ্রি কোঅর্ডিনেট দুটো ও এনজয় করছিল, দ্য টু কোঅর্ডিনেটস ইট দ্য পার্টিকেল ওয়াজ এনজয়িং বিকামস ওয়ান, বিকজ হোয়াই বিকজ দেয়ার ইজ ওয়ান কনস্ট্যান্ট। আমরা একটা কনস্ট্যান্ট দেখতে পাচ্ছি যে কনস্ট্যান্টটা এটাকে তৈরি করে দিয়েছে। সুতরাং ফ্রি ভেরিয়েবল, so the free variable, number of free variable equal to, in 2-dimensional motion in general we have 2 degree of freedom, but there is one constant, so 2 minus 1 equal to 1. Similarly for a circle, just think of circle. Similarly the case for a circle, when a particle moves in a circle, its equation say is known to us, x square plus y square equal to a square. This a is the radius of circle, and now if we just consider x to be like this, then look at the beauty again. This point is p xy. Its position is to be determined by 2 variables, but they are interrelated with by one constant, that is this one. So whenever we have the idea of y or information y সম্পর্কে যখনই থাকবে, খেয়াল রাখো x সম্পর্কে ইনফরমেশনটা আমরা পেয়ে যাচ্ছি, just we are getting the information about x whenever we have y, because those 2 variables are interrelated by this particular constraint. So one constant is there. So finally degree of freedom, and that will be 2 minus 1 equal to 1. So though the point has 2 coordinates, its degree of freedom is not 2, it is rather 1. This is the beauty of the subject. এটা আমরা বলবো সাবজেক্টের বিউটি। সেটা হচ্ছে পি পার্টিকেলটাকে ডেসক্রাইব করতে গিয়ে 2টো কোঅর্ডিনেট লেগেছে, কিন্তু সেটাই তার ডিগ্রি অফ ফ্রিডম নয়। দেখতে হবে ওর মধ্যে কোনো কনস্ট্যান্ট প্রেজেন্ট নেই তো। ইজ দেয়ার সাম কনস্ট্যান্ট? ইয়েস। সো ultimately degree of freedom equal to free minus constant. This is the formula. Basically, loosely speaking, free minus constraints, obviously number of free variables, number of constraints, and that is equal to DOF. This is the main concept. Now we all know what is the motion of pendulum. This is the specific result which is very much important from exam perspective, because whenever we should follow, we want to actually do anything exceptional in the exam hall, then we have to follow, we have already discussed, interdisciplinary. interdisciplinary maths. We have to put importance on that. Interdisciplinary math means we have to relate all the concepts of physics as far as possible in our study to make our work more perfect. If we go through just the concepts of physics for perfectness, then it will be better for us. Now say one thing, say this particle is P and its mass is M. মনে করো এই পার্টিকেলটা P, তার মাস M. It is hanging by a string of length L. String একটা টানা দেয়া তার দ্বারা বাঁধা আছে, L length string. So whenever we just take this particle up to some distance, angular measurement, here the angular measurement is important, that is theta. This L goes to here and just we withdraw the force, then it will move to here and then go here and back here and then again retraces its path, অর্থাৎ তার পাথটা রিট্রেস করতে থাকবে। এই ধরনের মোশনকে আমরা হারমোনিক, this type of motion is called harmonic motion. This is important, this is called harmonic motion. So whenever we have a particle like this P with the help hanging with the help of a string of length L, then the position of that particle, though is changing, ultimately can describe an imaginary circle like this. So what is this equation? X square plus y square equal to L square. For simple pendulum, this is called the configuration of simple pendulum. একে বলা হয় simple pendulum. এই simple pendulum এ পার্টিকেলটা এই length of string দ্বারা এইভাবে constraint আকারে থাকে. This is in the form of a constraint. Now total variables 2 minus constraints 1. So 2 minus 1 equal to 1 DOF. It is enjoying 1 DOF. This concept is very much important as questions are set from this conception of simple pendulum in CSIR also. We would see later that what are those questions. আমরা দেখব যে কি ধরনের কোশ্চেন এখান থেকে পরবর্তী সময়ে দেয়া হয়েছে। সো এইটা আমরা যখন করছি, এরপরে আমাদের নেক্সট যে পয়েন্টটা আসবে সেই পয়েন্টটা হচ্ছে, just say next point. Now the question arises that a particle is moving on a sphere. That means the motion becomes shifted from a circle to sphere. That means for circle to sphere, that means from 2-dimensional system to 3-dimensional system. So sphere, we can just imagine it as of radius r, which is constant. So its equation will be like this: x square plus y square plus z square equal to r square. So one constant and free variables. How many free variables are there? X, y, z, 3. So 3 variables minus 1 constant. So DOF will be 2, as can be seen easily. খুব সহজেই আমরা দেখতে পাচ্ছি যে DOF 2. তাই যখন এই ধরনের কোশ্চেন আসবে যে একটা স্ফিয়ার, তার উপরে কীরকম ডিগ্রি অফ ফ্রিডম হবে, 2Dতে সেটা সার্কেল, সেটা 3Dতে স্ফিয়ারের আকার নিল, তো 3টে ভেরিয়েবল ছিল কিন্তু তারা একটা কনস্ট্যান্ট দ্বারা আবদ্ধ, তাহলে কি ঘটবে? হোয়াট উইল হ্যাপেন? Just x square will be r square minus y square plus z square. So look at the thing. When we have information about y and z, we can easily determine x. So this is a constraint, and that constraint should be eliminated from number of free variables, and finally we will reach the degree of freedom like 2 here. So next we come to another important concept, that is called motion of dumbbell. What is that? Motion of dumbbell টা কি? Say we have a three-dimensional system. That means we have three axes in our hand. And as we are very familiar to modern gyms, there we can see this dumbbell, this type of material where two masses, heavy in general, are connected with a rod like thing, small. So look at the thing. Here the system is in three-dimensional system and it is not a single particle. Look at this figure. Here the particle was single. এখানে particle, here the particle was single. Each problem we have discussed so far, the particle was single particle. But here is the beauty. When we discuss the motion of dumbbell, then we have two particle system. Two particle system. What is the beauty of two particle system in 3D? It has free variables like x1, y1, z1, and this particular point, say B, this is A. B has also three coordinates x2, y2, z2. So total number of coordinates for two particles, 2 into 3 equal to 6. This should be free. But here one constraint is already given, that is the rod which is joining the two masses. So we have one constraint here. Clear? Since one constraint is here, যেহেতু এখানে একটা constraint আমরা দেখতে পাচ্ছি, so DOF will finally for a motion of dumbbell will be 6 minus 1 equal to 5. 6 থেকে 1 বাদ চলে যাবে, তাহলে ক্লিয়ারলি 5 হয়ে যাবে. This is the answer. বহু পরীক্ষায় in so many exams this particular concept has been asked. So be careful of this, how we determine the motion of dumbbell. Later we will see all the PYQs as I have previously said. But first we would like to draw the attention to the simple facts related to DOF. So if we analyze what we have discussed in today's lecture, the most important part will be whenever there is 3D space and single particle, that means number of particle 1 যদি থাকে, তাহলে DOF যদি ফ্রি হয় 3 হয়ে যাবে. In 3D space, number of particle 2, DOF 3 into 2 equal to 6. Similarly, if the number of particles are n, then DOF free for free portion will be 3n. But we have to consider the one of the most important fact of constraint. This is something in fact which we cannot ignore. আমরা এটাকে কিন্তু ইগনোর করতে পারি না, তারা হচ্ছে কনস্ট্রেন্ট. সো কনস্ট্রেন্ট যখন থাকবে, হতে পারে it may be that the system has more than one constraint. So in general, number of constraint is denoted by single small letter k. So finally we have arrived at the most important result in 3D space. In 3D space, DOF for n particles, DOF for n particles with number of constraints k will be, that degree of freedom will be equal to 3 into n, because in 3D space a single particle takes 3 degree of freedom, so n particle will take 3n degree of freedom. But we have to just eliminate constraints, so this is the portion. From next day we would discuss from here this point. So সকলকে অনুরোধ থাকবে, we would request all to draw attention to all the concepts given today. These concepts will be extremely important for any competitive exam. So, what we have discussed today, if all of you are interested, please like, share, or comment so that we can improve our materials day by day. Take care and bye bye.